Hi, Narine.
Hello.
I'm so glad to have you on. Everyone's thinking about their fitness goals, and I really love that you have a very holistic approach to fitness. I understand that that comes from you having had an injury, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, we're all trying to get fitter, but what I get back all the time is
Mm-hmm.
I go to the gym, I work out, and then I become either ill or I get an injury or I'm in too much pain, and then I can't stay consistent. How do we do it differently this year?
I think um, if you're going to the gym and you get injured, that means that you're probably not doing something right. So it'd be good to like ask for help and get your form corrected. At least like even if it's for a couple of sessions so that you're doing things right. Or if it's like once a week you meet with someone and they correct your form. Like even just like every gym has personal trainers. Just to meet with them to make sure you're doing your forms correctly and then the rest of the week you do them correctly on your own. So that's one thing. Two, I don't like the like work out until you're dying and push till failure method. I think like because if I'm overly sore and then I can't work out the next day, then I'm not happy because I want to work out at least 5 times a week.
Mm,
So how I sustain that is I'll usually do 2 sets of everything. Instead of three or four, I'll
mm,
have a list of exercises and I'll do 2 sets of everything. And if some of the exercises I'm going to do higher reps, like 25 reps, I'll only do it once.
mm,
So I'm not killing myself or pushing myself to the point where I'm overly sore and I'm gonna like dread it the next day. But I'm still building strength. Just in a way that works for me. You know, I'm a woman. I don't work out like a man. I work out like a woman. That's how I like it.
mm. That's
So
really refreshing to hear from a
yeah,
personal trainer
yeah.
because I think the problem for most of us, and I'm gonna speak for myself, is
Mhm,
we're constantly, especially now, but even in my younger years,
mhm,
we're constantly obsessed with images of
yeah,
very rich looking women.
mhm,
And when I was younger, we didn't really know that, about airbrushing, unless once in a while a celebrity would say, hey, they airbrushed my picture, they took out my cellulite. And
mhm,
so I think this having these unrealistic expectations make you feel like, oh, you have to kill yourself in terms of how you
mhm.
eat. You have to eat so clean, you don't eat cooked food, and then we are led to believe that actually that is what, first of all, that we should all be aspiring to is six pack abs. And I think now we're seeing eight, like literally eight people draw them in.
Yeah, maybe. You can put makeup on it now. On your stomach.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
how do we break out of that? Um,
yeah.
those ideas.
I think it's just a matter of having self-confidence and self-love. Like, I don't compare myself to other people. I'm a trainer, but I don't have a six pack. I don't care that other trainers have a six pack. It takes a long time to get a six pack, especially for women. And to have a six pack, you have to eat like super clean, take out bread, sugar, and not that I eat so much of that, but I'm not planning to be a bodybuilder. I think that kind of diet and rigidity is really important for like women who want to be bodybuilders, but that's not my path. That's not what I want to do. So I enjoy eating a healthy diet and still eating the stuff that I want. My goal in life is not necessarily to have a six pack. I want to be strong, whether I end up getting one or not, whatever. I probably won't because I like eating all the stuff that I like eating. But I think it's just to not compare yourself to other people because when you do, you're always gonna be defeated. Like there's always gonna be someone better. There are female trainers that are in better shape than me. There are female trainers that are in worse shape than me. That doesn't matter. I don't want to
Mhm,
compare myself to be better or worse than anyone. I just compare myself to me. Am I better than I was yesterday? Yes. So
mhm,
I'm on the right track.
mhm,
And then also I think for a lot of women, it's just also we have to consider like working out and according to our periods.
yeah,
And maybe some of the women on the podcast, if they're a little bit older, maybe they don't have periods anymore, but the ones who do, it's like, or even if you're going through menopause, whatever it is, to work out according to your hormones. Like,
mhm,
because we can't work out the same way that men do, or like if we have those expectations, like we're gonna get up every morning, like, their testosterone is the highest, that's when they're gonna have their most strength, right? It
mhm,
doesn't work like that for us the week before my period or the week of my period. I have less energy. I'm not as strong. The 2 weeks after, I'm the strongest, right? So I can do more. But leading up to it, I'll use less weights, and then during the week of, if I need to, I'll do body weight or just walk and like not push myself.
Mhm.
And I find that when I do that, I am just stronger and better, and I don't hurt myself. I'm not defeated by the process, but just really for women, especially listening to your body, like to your own intuition, seeing how you feel based on where you are at in the cycle, and like not comparing yourself to other people is going to be so valuable, because just so much, especially social media, I feel like targets women and trying to have this like perfect image. No one's perfect.
Yes.
You're never gonna be perfect.
Yes. Oh, I
Yeah.
really love
Mhm.
that. So you're saying we really
Mhm.
should know our cycles too.
Definitely.
Uh,
Yes.
I have become more aware of that. 2023 I think was
Mhm.
my most consistent year up
Mhm.
until I had an injury. I don't know
Mm.
how you had your injury, but I
Yeah.
fell down the stairs.
Oh no.
I know, but I
Yeah.
actually had it's a previous injury, so I'd had
Okay.
surgery, and
Mhm.
that's how I came across ATG because I had two thoughts. As soon as that happened, I couldn't walk; it swelled
Oh
up,
no.
and
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, okay, this is what happens. Someone in their 40s, 50s will get an injury, and then that could be the beginning of the end of their active period in life. And I
Mhm.
just caught myself having these thoughts, and I thought to myself, you know what? What if I reframe that and think to
Mhm.
myself, this could be the beginning of me never taking my health for granted, and
Yeah.
maybe there's a way to recover and recover stronger.
Mhm.
And so, for anyone who has had my mindset, I want you to give them hope because I've found hope now.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I got chills as you were saying that. It's not 40s and 50s is not old. Okay, that's like, but if you look at Ben's mom, she was in her 60s and she's now 70, and she got stronger in her 60s. So much older than you guys. I'm 32. I had my injury in when I was 30 in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I
Mhm.
also had very weak ankles from dancing. Like I was just very fragile and skinny, and I didn't strengthen any part of my body. So whether you're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, having an injury is not the end. You can get stronger than before your injury if you work out that part of your body and then even all surrounding parts. So was yours an ankle injury or knee injury? What was your
And
injury?
well, it was a
Ankle.
knee injury,
Mhm.
knee.
Knee?
And
Okay.
me and on the same knee where I'd had the surgery. And
Hmm.
so when it swelled up, I showed it to someone who said, you know what, this is pretty bad. And so the next morning, I started doing knees over toes guy,
Nice.
Ben Patrick.
Yeah,
Ben Patrick, I found him on YouTube and I started walking backwards in my
I
living
love that.
room. And as you can see,
I
it's
love it.
a very small living room
Yeah.
and just kept doing that, kept doing that, kept doing that. And slowly I started to see an improvement. And then I signed up with a coach
Nice.
on ATG who was really pushing me a bit, but he made me feel hopeful. So I
That's
would
really
do
good.
the split squat slowly,
Hmm.
and
Nice.
he just made me believe that I can go a little bit further each time and a little bit further each time. And I
I love
remember
that.
thinking, is he crazy? He's telling me to go even further. But because he believed in me, I
Yeah,
was able to push myself and push myself. And now I can say I walk with like nobody would tell that I've had
I
an
love that.
injury, but I
Yeah.
still have mental blocks.
It's a mental block. Where
Hmm.
do you think that mental block comes from? Are you afraid you're gonna like hurt yourself again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah.
scared of hurting myself. And then
Mhm.
sometimes you'll be in the gym and someone will come to you and, and say, you know what, you could really put out your spine. And you just constantly hear about
Mhm.
people who have hurt themselves. And
Yeah.
I know so many people who are worse than me. Ben Patrick's mom is such
Mhm.
an inspiring lady.
She's very inspiring.
So how can you tell us a little bit about how she came to be so fit? Because she can sprint better than me.
So
Insane.
she was having a hard time getting up out of bed, like I think a couple years ago, and she was having a lot of mobility issues and she was in a lot of pain. So Ben really worked with her to strengthen her legs. Like all the same stuff that I did to heal my knees at 30, she was doing in her 60s. So it works no matter how old you are. Yeah, doing all the same stuff. And tib raises, calf raises, split squats. So now she's very mobile. She's a very active grandma. She was like bicycling around one of her last posts.
Mhm.
So it's not like it's different for 30-year-olds or 60-year-olds. Maybe you would just be more patient when someone is older. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you
Mhm.
can still use the same formula. And just speaking to the fear, I think when you have knowledge, knowledge is power. So
Yes.
when you know what you can do to heal yourself and to strengthen yourself, like
Mhm.
for me, that gave me the confidence because I was hesitant to go back to martial arts, but now it's like I know like if I injure myself again, I know what to do to heal my knee or my ankle. And that's how I got
Mhm.
my injury in the first place. So just know that like you have all the right resources, and if you know what you can do to heal your knee and you have all the right resources, you have all the right exercises, then there's nothing to be afraid of because
Mhm.
you know what you can do if that happens again, and there's no like life is not meant to be lived in fear. Like as much as I can encourage you as knowledge is power. Use the knowledge that you have, use the exercises in front of you, do
Mhm.
them. And when you build that strength for your knee from the ground up and also behind your knee, your
Mhm.
legs are going to be so strong. Like my legs are much stronger now than they were when I was in my late 20s, early 20s, ever. Even if, you know what I mean, as a teenager, I was just very fragile. And
And
now
you
I'm
love to
strong.
dance, right?
I danced, yeah, since I was 5 till I was about like 30.
That's amazing. But isn't
Yeah.
that surprising? Because when I saw you dancing and you tell me that you've been dancing since you were 5, you would imagine someone like you would have strong ankles, strong knees. How is it that you weren't able to build and this what's the difference between a dancer and
Hmm.
what ATG is doing for a
That's a
dancer?
good question. That's a good question. So when I was dancing, all I did was dance. It was just cardio. I didn't do any strength training. And I didn't dance professionally. Like professional dancers, they might do strength training so their ankles and their knees are super strong, but also like just us women wearing high heels, we're
Yeah.
more prone to like ankle injuries, especially if you have a partner that maybe like just pulls you a little, like your ankle will like quickly roll, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I wasn't doing any strength training. I was doing just dancing. So it was pure cardio, 10 to 15 hours a week. I was just very skinny. I was 12 pounds lighter than I am now. So
Mhm.
just fragile. Um, and then I started martial arts, I realized, oh, my body's not strong enough to handle this sport. There's a lot of like demand that my body needs to do, and I don't have the strength for that yet.
Mhm.
So then that's when I started my strength training journey, and now even just dancing, wearing heels, I'm more confident. My ankles are much stronger, my knees are much stronger, and if I ever tweak it in martial arts, like I know what to do now to heal it, and my healing is so much faster because my legs are already so much stronger.
And do you find with martial arts that you're scared of your knee moving? Like, one of the things I think I found from a very young age was that I didn't have strong enough knees, and I haven't done martial arts, but I grew up with nine brothers.
Nice.
So that is a bit like doing martial arts. And
Yeah.
the first injury actually came with me trying to drop kick one of my brothers.
I think definitely if you do things the wrong way, you can get injured. Like if you kick the wrong way, you can hurt your foot. If you pivot too fast and you haven't done like enough Patrick steps or calf raises or tib raises, you can hurt your knee. So
Hmm.
I think before getting into it or throwing yourself into it, I would just encourage people to like strengthen their bodies
Hmm.
so that they have the confidence to do something like to do a sport. You can hurt yourself in volleyball, in basketball. Martial arts is a little bit more dangerous because you're literally fighting. But
Hmm.
if you build your legs strong enough, then you don't have to be afraid. So like let's say if I'm pivoting really fast and if I notice a tweak in my knee, then I'll strengthen my knee so that I'll make sure I don't feel that tweak so that I can move and pivot and have my knees over my toes without having any pain.
Hmm. So you're saying all of the programs that you teach people
Hmm.
actually teaches them how to build ground up.
Yes, build strength from the ground up. So what that means is we start at the feet and
Hmm.
then the ankles
Hmm.
and then the Achilles and the calves, the tibialis muscles, and then going to like the back of the knee, the hamstrings, the quads, the hips, and the lower back. So to strengthen my legs, I need to strengthen all of that. Because if I have a weak lower back, then my hamstrings are not going to be flexible and then I might have knee pain. If I have weak tibs or calves, I'm gonna be very tight and I might have knee pain. And
Mhm.
then I had two knee injuries. Both of them stemmed from having actually ankle injuries. So if your ankle is weak, it's very commonly that you will have knee pain. And it came from like twisting my ankle.
Nobody really teaches us that.
Not really, yeah, no. But
All
I'm
we hear
thankful that like Ben teaches that, and like for me, it's like life experience, just learning that if one part of my body is weak, then it's gonna affect another part. Like the knee is not an isolated separation of our body. Like this is just the knee. It's like if I have weak hips or if I have weak ankles, that could be a big reason why I have knee pain. I might
Mhm.
not feel the pain in my hips or my ankles, but the weakness in those areas is what causes pain to my knee because it all works together.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
And so when you're telling people that actually what this program does is it builds you up from the ground up,
Mhm.
what people will think is then what is the progression? How do I think to myself that okay, yes, I've built a little bit of strength, and how do you progress from there to actually becoming the fittest possible self that you can be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I love that question. So all the exercises that I do, they
Mhm.
can be regressed to the easiest level and then also progress to much harder levels. So
Mhm.
we'll start with just body weight, and then
Mhm.
we'll increase to the hardest version of body weight, and then we'll add weights, and
Mhm.
then we'll add a barbell on your back, and then we'll add, you know what I mean, like harder versions. So there's an easier version of tib raises, and then there's a harder version of tib raises. There's an easier version of split squats, and then there's like a medium, and then there's a hard. Like it's
So
it's
you
on a
never
scale.
plateau.
Yeah, so you can always continue to grow. So
Wow.
for most people, they'll start split squats on elevation, right? Until
Yes.
they go to flat ground. And
Mhm.
then once they're on flat ground and they feel comfortable, then we can add dumbbells. And then you can start getting heavier and heavier dumbbells, and that's how you increase your strength in your legs. And then eventually you can have a bar on your back, and that's the hardest version, and then increase the weight. So we use the same exercises, but we can make them easy and then we can make them hard and everywhere in between.
Mhm. We're all girls here, so can
Yeah,
you tell us a little bit
yeah.
about how has your body changed since you started? Like, what are the things we can expect if we do this program right?
Yeah, I love
Do
that.
we get
I
our
love that
summer
question.
body?
Huh?
Do we get
What'd you
our
say?
do
Can
we
you
get
get
a
your summer
beautiful
body?
summer
Yes, you
body?
can
Yeah.
get your summer body. In 6 months, if you're consistent, you'll notice a big difference. So for me, I would say um, there was no difference in weight. There was actually, I gained the weight,
Hmm.
but my body is leaner and I'm more toned than I've ever been. So really try not to focus on weight
Okay.
because in college I'm 32 now, but when I was 22, I weighed the same, but I was 4 sizes bigger. So weight really has nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
But my body's toned. My legs are more shapely. I have more muscles in my legs, and
Wow.
my waist is thinner, but I weigh the same or like a little bit more even. So you know what I mean? But like
That's
just
what we
more toned.
want.
What happened?
That's exactly what we want.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. So
Yeah.
everything is tighter. Like your legs, your glutes, they're all tighter. They're stronger, more muscular, and then like my waist is more narrow, and I just have a more toned shape.
Wow, I think
Even
that's
my
what
arms.
people don't
Yeah.
understand. Wow, really? Oh, so you can continue to really tone up your arms.
Yeah. And like a lot of women are afraid they're gonna look like men. We're not gonna look like men. Like it takes so much. Let me
Me,
change my mind.
me,
It takes
me,
so
me.
much to build muscle for women that you're not gonna look like a man unless you're taking testosterone. And I don't recommend
Okay,
that.
thank you for saying that. I
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
want to lift heavy all the time.
yeah.
And I will text with one of my brothers. I'm like, I swear to God, you're telling me to lift heavy. If I end up looking like you,
Yeah. You won't.
that's what he says.
Yeah,
I realized actually a lot of times it's just me not wanting the endless
yeah,
heaviness in their work. Isn't it
yeah.
funny how much resistance we face in
Hmm.
wanting to exercise? How
Yeah.
do you beat resistance?
I like that question. So I didn't really enjoy strength training until like maybe a year and a half ago. I
Mhm.
just I just didn't enjoy it. But I found ways to do it. I had to find ways to do it that made me like it. And then eventually now I love it, and if I don't do it, I feel like I'm missing something. So for me it was like, okay, well, I really want to do martial arts. So in order to do martial arts, I have to get strong. And so I had that goal in mind. So for women, a lot of times there has to be an outside motivator. Like
Yes.
whether it's I really want to get in shape so that I can be in a bikini and like feel good about myself, or I'm gonna get married so I really want to look good for my wedding, or it's whatever it is, the outside motivator.
Mhm.
Focus on that goal and know that in order to do that, to get to that goal, you have to do these workouts to get there.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of times, like, men are not as much with this, and not to be stereotypical, but with a lot of women, we're more like we go more based on our feelings,
Hmm.
and to try not to let your motivation dictate you, but just to be disciplined. Like I would say 75% of the time, I don't feel like working out. I would rather like just chill or hang out or you know what I mean, take a nap. But it's like I have to keep that goal in mind and stay disciplined.
Hmm.
Focus on being disciplined over being motivated because you're only going to be motivated like 10-20% of the time.
Yes.
And yeah, I think what keeps me always sharp and like I'm gonna be disciplined is because I have that goal in mind. I want to be good at martial arts. I want to get better at this sport. It's really hard, and in order to do that, I have to be strong, and so that's why I train my body.
Hmm. I think for me, it's always been I hate dieting. Like I've never
Oh
tried.
yeah. Mhm.
And so because I like to be, someone who looks nice in a dress. Definitely, I
Mhm.
have the same motivation most women do, but I don't have the discipline to say no. I'm never gonna eat pasta, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
say no to a slice of cake every single time. It's no, I can't eat that slice of cake. I
Mhm.
love weight training because I feel like, a lot of the trainers tell you actually when you go to the gym and you do weight training, you actually are still burning calories the following day versus calories
Mhm.
you're only burning it in that moment.
Mhm.
So, do you think that's accurate, and is that, yeah, a good motivation for weight training?
That's definitely a good motivation. So the more muscle you have, the more you're gonna be burning calories and burning calories fast. So you can eat a lot more without having to worry about it. I don't like diets. I don't restrict myself. I eat whatever I want. There's been a points in my life where I didn't feel good and I had to like restrict myself, but I eat whatever I want. If there's cake and I want to eat it, I am gonna eat it. I don't crave sugar the way I used to, and I don't eat as much of it as I used to because it doesn't make me feel good when I eat it. But
Yeah.
when I want it, I
Yes.
am gonna eat it and I don't limit myself. Does that
Yes.
make sense? Yeah, I don't like
Absolutely.
dieting. That doesn't work for me, and I
Yeah.
don't feel like everyone needs to do that.
I find actually when you're constantly, that's when I think to myself, I when I tell myself I'm going to diet, actually that's when I have cravings.
Exactly.
You
Because you're
have
focusing on what you can have, and then you're just thinking about it. So let's say it's cake or ice cream or whatever. If you're just focusing, I can't have it, I can't have it, I can't
yeah,
have that cake, then you're just thinking about the cake, and then you want the cake.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like over Christmas, I let my daughter bake so much, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just go along with this. But then
Yeah.
by the end of the holidays, I was like, look, the holidays finished. That's that's enough. You're back at school. Let's stop with this baking stuff for a bit.
Yeah.
So if someone's older
Mhm.
and they want to get back to the gym, how
Mhm.
does somebody who's older, who's had a tough time of injuries, how do you get them to slowly start this program or a program that works?
On the ATG app, there is a older and active program.
Hmm.
It goes at a slower pace,
Hmm.
which I think is a really good option for people who are older. And then also, like if someone has had an injury, avoidance is not the issue. What's better is to like target that part. So if they've had a knee injury, to do exercises specifically to help the knee, because then they're gonna feel better and then they're gonna see results and they're gonna be motivated, more motivated and disciplined to go to the gym.
Hmm.
So really to focus on what's my weak point and strengthening the weak points of the body. And then to do a program that's not made for like a 25-year-old, do a program that's fit for you and have either a coach make one for you or have, the ATG app has that older and active program to do something that's like appropriate for where you're at in life and then to eventually to increase from there. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of people who are older that are very in shape and are doing even hard programs now, but it just takes patience and to move up gradually. And
Right.
if they're worried, I really recommend like just getting a coach or a personal trainer at the gym or doing online coaching with someone who can correct their forms and create a program so that they make sure they're on the right track.
That is really good advice. So a lot of times what you find is there's so many people who have put on a lot of weight,
Mhm.
and sometimes they have that shame factor of thinking
Mhm.
that if I, how do I start? If I go to the gym, people are judging me. What I say to them is almost everyone in the gym is in their own pain.
Yeah.
Nobody is looking at you, nobody
Mhm.
cares about you, and the few people who will look at you are actually inspired that
Mhm.
you are wanting to get. I find it a fair place, the gym, because almost
Definitely.
everybody is trying to uplift everyone else. Is
Mhm.
that right? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I definitely 100% agree. Like, no one is looking at anyone else. They're all focused on themselves. I think a lot of times we think people are looking at us, but people don't think about us as much as we think they think about us, if that makes sense. So everyone is just focused on their own workout. There's people who are bigger, there's people who are smaller, there's people who are in shape, people not in shape. But you're right, it is a very level field because we're all there to just make our bodies and our lives better. And so it is a very supportive place. And if you go to a gym that's not supportive or is negative, just find another gym because there's enough gyms out there that have a better culture.
Yeah,
But really, I would say don't worry about what anyone thinks because people are going to be judging you whether you're big, whether you're small, whether you're in shape or not. And so as much as you can to have that like strong mind and like focus on yourself because
yeah,
other people are most likely not looking at you.
yeah. I find for me, one of the things I've noticed is a lot of people are actually motivated by pain.
I think that it would moving, exercising, well, it just when I started working out more, it took away different part like pains in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Exercising will like kill cancer cells. There's a lot of studies about how exercising also will make you happier and help with other parts of the body that are not doing well. Like remember that one part of the body is not separate from another. So if you have like arthritis pain or if you have some other kinds of health issues, even for me I had digestive issues for a while in my 20s. But when I started exercising, a lot of the digestive issues, the stomach issues, all of that stuff started to dissipate. Because I think when you get healthier in your body, all the other stuff start to like resolve themselves, if that makes sense. I'm also very spiritual, so I believe in that whole holistic kind of how the body and the spirit and the mind work together.
Yeah, me
Mhm.
too. Um, Me too, actually. More and more I think about that. What does anger do? How do we hold
Exactly.
all
Hmm.
of that? So my biggest fear actually was surgery again. And I know so many people who are being forced to get surgeries because they don't discover this program.
Yeah.
What do you say to somebody who's had a surgery and now feels like actually I better just do regular things like walk and have low impact? How can they build back up to doing activities they love, like maybe even going for a run or
I think before doing another surgery, like give this program a shot, like the ATG program, the knee ability program. Do the knees over toes exercises. Obviously, progress. Start with walking backwards and see how much that's gonna help you strengthen your legs to the point where maybe you don't need surgery. Because a lot of times surgery might make it worse. And I'm not a doctor, so it's case by case, and I'm not gonna tell people don't listen to your doctor. But if
Mhm.
you're afraid of surgery or you want an alternative, give yourself that opportunity to see if you can strengthen your body doing these exercises so that you potentially don't need surgery. Like surgery is no joke, you go under the knife, like it's expensive.
Mhm.
Why not try something that is a less intense approach to your body and you're gonna feel good? I would
Yeah.
say the knees over toes exercise is what they should try. Like walk backwards, tib raises, eventually split squats, reverse step ups. That's
Mhm.
all gonna help someone heal their body and also strengthening the back of the leg. So like with hamstring curls and with Jefferson curls and with RDLs, like from the ground up and from the back.
I really believe that if I had gone to see a GP instead of doing the ATG app, I promise you I would have had a surgery
Definitely.
because that's what happened to me when I was 17.
Yeah.
When I had that injury, immediately they took out a cartilage. And
Oh,
they said, yeah. I'm just glad that, I was able to do physio and walk and have lived a pretty good life.
Yeah,
But now I feel like for me, even though I walk really fast and I've recovered a lot in a quick amount of time because of doing the app consistently.
I love that.
Yeah, oh God, it's given me so much hope. But I need to overcome the fear of like, I really want to go back to Zumba,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if I'll be able to, like I just worry. I, did you feel like that about your injury?
I did. I was like really scared to go back to martial arts, so I was like worried. And then I went back, and then sometimes I would feel pain and everything. I felt I was like, oh my god, And then I was like, but what I did was I started strengthening like the back of my legs, and that like turned everything around. It made my recovery so much faster. If I had felt little pains, it would go away. And what I did was like I started slowly. So I started just going once a week to see how my body would feel, and then eventually I got stronger as I continued to work out. Then I added to 2 times a week, and
Yes.
then I let my body get stronger, and then I'm gonna start going 3 times a week. So I
Okay.
would say try a Zumba class. Go like the first 10 minutes. If it hurts, stop. But
Yes.
at least you're like having that courage, and don't let that fear stop you. Because what if you can do it and now you're missing out on an amazing Zumba class? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
try
so
it. If it
true
hurts,
because
stop. But if it doesn't, then continue. Yeah.
that's so true because that's kind of what I did with spin.
Mhm.
As soon as I felt like, okay, I'm walking fine,
Mhm.
I would just do the walk backwards walking on the treadmill. What does that backwards walking do? Because when I'm doing it, I feel really silly, and I can see people looking at me like, "What is he doing?" What?
That's a great question. I love that question. So, for people who have knee pain, when they walk forward, their vastus medialis, which is like the muscles in their inner thighs, they don't engage the same for people who don't have knee pain. But when you walk backwards, those inner thigh muscles, the vastus medialis, do engage. So that's how you can build up that strength and strengthen your inner thigh muscles to get rid of your knee pain. So that's what walking backwards does. Um, yeah.
Because when I see Ben doing it, he does it
Mhm.
in a way where his knees bent a little bit.
Yeah, it's over your toes.
Like he has a special treadmill.
The backwards treadmill. I have that too. It's a really good treadmill. Hmm.
Oh, see, I don't. We in our gym we just have a treadmill, and I kind
Hmm.
of turn facing the opposite way,
Yeah.
and I make it so that it's on an incline.
Yes.
Then I put it on a very low setting, and I just
Hmm.
walk for like 20.
Yes.
Is that the same effect?
So it's the same effect, and you could just do it turned off. Don't even turn it on. Do it turned off, so you're just using the resistance. Like you have to push it. Yeah. So the reason why he made the backward treadmill is because over time, doing that on a regular treadmill might ruin the treadmill.
Yeah.
But like if it's at a
But what if you
commercial
put it
gym,
on a much lower setting? That way it doesn't ruin the treadmill. It's slowly moving. But is it the resistance part that's what's helping?
the resistance is what you want. So turned off would probably be a little bit better, but that slow pace
What?
was is probably totally fine too.
Okay.
And I mean that would work. Just walk backwards on that,
Okay,
and then if
that makes
someone,
sense because
yeah,
at first, when I was first doing it, I was doing it with the treadmill completely turned off.
mhm,
But I did read him saying, you know what, it might,
yeah,
the treadmill.
yeah,
Okay, that makes sense about what it's doing because I kept thinking, I don't feel like I'm working out. I'm just like,
yeah, that makes sense.
so is there a special diet for ATG or?
I wouldn't say there's a special diet for ATG. What I would say is a lot of the ATG trainers, they eat a lot of meat and fruits, and a lot of them will like the ones that are like more intense and like want to be just completely cut. They won't eat sugar. They'll eat very little carbs, and it's focused more on meat and fruits. But I wouldn't say that's an ATG thing. I would just say a lot of the ATG trainers so happen to eat that way, and a lot of them are men, and they're very like very focused on the diet.
Mhm.
Um, I like eating everything. I try not to. I can't eat a lot of sweets or dairy because it just doesn't make me feel good. So what I eat the most is I would say meat. That's just what I eat, and I'm Armenian. That's my culture. We grew up like very we eat a lot of meat. Yeah, so and like that's what makes me feel good because that's the food I grew up with. But I wouldn't say there's like a ATG diet. I know like Ben is very strict with his diet, and like Alyssa isn't.
Mhm.
Alyssa is his wife.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wouldn't say there's like an ATG diet. It's just
Amazing.
the guys really like to do like the carnivore month thing, and they're like going all heavy with like all the meat and stuff. And I just growing up, that was what I ate, so that's what I eat now, and that's what makes me
You
feel good is
you fit
red
very
meat.
nicely in Somalia because that is the majority of our diet.
Yeah, is
Yeah,
meat. Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah, that
meat,
makes me feel
rice.
good. Yeah, exactly. Meat, rice, like veggies. Like if I don't eat red meat, I feel like I'm hungry. So my body needs it. Yeah.
I think you're the only one. It's so funny. I interviewed Doug Doug Evans, who
Okay.
he's the Sprout guy.
Okay.
Mr. Sprout, like, and after he told me all of that, I told him, you know what, I'm a big meat eater, and
Yeah.
he looked at me like, why, why am I even on your podcast? But he was very kind to me. I said I'm practically a carnivore.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. Yeah, that's just, yeah. But like, in some cultures, if they don't grow up eating meat and they eat other things, and so that makes them feel good, I feel like it depends also like how you're raised, what your digestive system is used to. For me, I feel good eating meat, eggs, cheese.
Yeah, that's all I
Um,
look for too. Yeah,
yeah, it's good protein. Yeah, exactly. And especially after working out, I have to eat like some kind of red meat.
yeah. Like if you
Yeah,
eat cereal and all of this
yeah,
other stuff, after a while you can see that your body
yeah.
actually is
It's not
rich.
good for you. Yeah, especially cereal. Mostly is just sugar, so it's just like it's junk food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Noreen.
Of course, of course.
So,
Thank you for having me.
can you tell us a little bit about the program that you're offering? Where can people sign up?
Awesome. Yes, so I have a free program that I'm offering now that people can find in my bio,
Mm-hmm.
and that really helps. It's just like my five favorite exercises. I'm like, if I could only do five knee exercises, if for like someone who's overwhelmed or they just want to start like something small, right? These are the five I would do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one, and then another program I have is 14 exercises, 14 knee exercises that help to build strength from the ground up and the back of you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a paid program, but it's much more intense, and it's the program that I made that I wish I knew. Like if I had my knee injury, I think I would recover faster. It's like this is what helped me recover from my knee injury, and if I had another one, this is what I would do, and I think I would recover the fastest. So that's the second one, and there's also the ATG app. That's not my program, but it's Ben's program. And if people want like online like feedback right away, they can do that with the ATG app. That's $50 a month. Mine are separate from that, and then I also offer like online and in-person one-on-one training. And people can just I have a link to apply in my link in bio, or they
Mm-hmm.
can send me a DM.
Right. So if people
Yeah.
want you specifically to coach,
hmm Yes.
you one of the ATG coaches that they can request on the ATG app?
They can request me on the ATG app, or they can just reach out to me directly. So we have like an ATG map, and
Yeah.
like I have my info in there. I mean, you can find me on Instagram. It's Niability Narine,
Mm-hmm.
and then either DM me or email me, or text me. I have my phone number there too. They can reach out to me if they want me specifically.
Amazing.
Yes,
Okay, I will post all of your
awesome.
links
Thank
and
you.
thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you for
on.
having me. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed answering all your questions, and I hope this helps people.
It should do because I'm definitely more motivated now.
Oh, good.
And
I'm
I'll
so
keep you
glad.
posted about my progress too.
Awesome. Yes, please keep me posted on your progress.
I will. Thank you,
Awesome.
Narine.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.